The river current is very fast, that's clearly visible, but the lanterns are floating in place. The animators forgot to move them with the current. The director of the sequel didn't rewatch the first part. The situation in the museum was maximally spontaneous. Even the police who arrived after Bellwether's call got there too fast, and reporters wouldn't have been given that information just like that. They definitely shouldn't be there.
The city's first bunny cop, and Nicholas Wilde, a small-time street fox.
The news has footage of the conman Nick, shot not just by cameras, but through Judy's eyes. As far as I remember, no one was filming anything then.
Wilde later joined the ZPD himself.
Hailed the two during celebrations for the 100th anniversary of the invention of Zootopia's weather wall.
This is our Zootopia.
No, this sounds lazy. Writer's laziness. Actually, I often notice this trend. In sequels, it suddenly turns out that a significant date is approaching, super important for the entire lore. Like the 10,000-year cycle in The Legend of Korra, for example, which wasn't mentioned at all in The Last Airbender. In Zootopia 2, it turns out that all the events of the first film's finale happened in the year leading up to the city's 100th anniversary. This is, firstly, clearly nonsense, because then the whole city would be buzzing about this date and preparing to celebrate instead of having a regular Gazelle concert. Secondly, it kinda contradicts the basics of this universe. At the beginning of the first film, Judy said that thousands of years ago animals were wild, then they became civilized. Zootopia is a symbol of animal unity and harmony. Why this is a big inconsistency I'll explain a bit later when they tell us the crazy backstory with the snake.
And if a lonely country bunny and a shifty, then maybe we can all embrace.
Bellwether's case was solved, and later Nick went through long training at the police academy. We remember his graduation. Ideally, the hype around Bellwether died down long ago, but the new mayor, who also wasn't elected immediately, is still praising Judy and Nick for some unknown reason, even though the speech topic is the city's centennial.
We're gonna crack a new case and be the greatest partners of all time!
The writers messed up again, not coming up with a good goal for the main characters, so they're trying to solve a case again to be remembered. Well, and to clean themselves of impending disgrace. Although cops don't have to be detectives and their names are already remembered for a long time, look at the newspapers, Hops and Wilde in big letters. So it turns out, in this part, Judy doesn't want to become what she dreams of, the meaning of the first part, but just wants to stroke her ego and be famous.
Captains Hogbottom and Truffler. Down the middle, the Zebras. Zebras?
Only a week has passed between the first and second parts within the film's timeline. And that's a very bad idea because it breaks everything. The same city centennial and suddenly a completely changed police lineup, and they're not newbies. During Nick's graduation, these clowns weren't there, just like in the next scene where there's no one similar in the office again.
He's also legally blind.
This mouse basically doesn't care what's happening, but I do care that they're opening a lock with several keys at once, keys that have nothing in common with ordinary keys. And also, if you watch the first part, you remember that small species live and work in their own districts and at their own scale. The exception is jobs requiring mental labor, not physical, like those hamsters or Mr. Big, so this Jerry shouldn't be here.
Everybody run! Get out of the road, you dumb bunny!
And what's a pig doing here in a vacation shirt and a fancy car? Was he just passing by? If you crash straight into a cart, all the contents would be thrown exactly to the right and multiplied about 3 times. The porcupine rolls like a sausage and leaves quills even from his belly. Where do the quills come from when he rolls onto his stomach? All animals have the same phone model, but that's not the problem. Do you see a flash module on anyone? The light comes literally from the camera lenses.
Join me in a moment of silence for our beloved weather wall inventor.
Reptile.
Zootopia ain't just a mammal city.
To themselves, hide out in Marsh Market.
The secret tiny reptile population. The most live abroad.
7 days in a crate.
There ain't been one of those around here for at least 100 years.
Judy decided to find information about snakes in Zootopia, but this video is presented against the logic and canon of the movie. If snakes are essentially a nation living in another country, then why watch a video about their departure from Zootopia 100 years ago? Judy and all the Beaver viewers should know this story, judging by the residents' reactions and the monument to Linksley. And why is Bobby telling this in his blog? A bit later, you'll understand that this is an even crazier phenomenon. Quills were flying into the faces of hippos, but they're sticking out even on the backs of their heads for some reason.
A new assignment reserved for special teams like yours.
New partners? Can you tell us about your...
In Zootopia 2, all characters, especially secondary ones, seem to have become dumber. All dialogues have become dumber, the atmosphere too. I mean, what kind of move is this? Newcomers came to therapy and these animals look at them as if they've had a lobotomy. What are those looks? What's the point of this at all? And so the whole movie.
Now today's
Bad guy is this.
Chief Bogo calls criminals bad guys. Like, what? In the first part, you can pick any moment and it feels like a serious and vivid detective story, but still remains a children's cartoon. In the second part, everything sharply degraded to the level of the minions. They couldn't make Bogo outright dumb, so they just decided to take him out of the game by poisoning him. The most sane and serious guy was just knocked out while a rabble of clowns led the plot.
You two tore up half the city.
Welcome to Partners in Crisis. Can you tell us about your journey to Dysfunction Junction?
So this is therapy for problems between partners? Then what's the logic? Chief Bogo's complaint was about the unprofessionalism and insolence of his subordinates, not about some misunderstanding between Nick and Judy. I absolutely cannot understand what the writers were thinking when they wrote this.
We cannot prove ourselves if we are stuck in that.
The soda machine worker is a mouse, and here's what I can't understand. In the first part, all rodents had black eyes except for important characters like Mr. Big's daughter. In Zootopia Plus, they made a small retcon, giving those same rodents white eyes. In the second part, mice are back with black eyes, and here the same rodents now have white eyes. Make up your minds already.
Tomorrow's weather is, again, everything.
Unlikely. In Savannah Central, the weather should change, if only for the vegetation's sake.
Where the Lynx League Journal will be on display for the first time in a century, following an infamous reptile attack.
Plot hole. Why did Linksley's father decide to present this book publicly in the first place? Everything was going according to plan. The expansion of Tundra Town was about to begin. Maybe Pawbird insisted on this so Gary could steal the book. But Gary learned about the book exhibition, and only then did they and Pawbird come up with their plans for the theft.
Doing our jobs, yikes. No wonder you never invite me over.
Nick lives like a homeless person, even though he made $200 a day, 365 days a year, from age 12. Where did all that money go? It can't be a small amount within the Zootopia universe, otherwise Nick wouldn't have bragged about those numbers. Does Mr. Big really hope not to be caught on camera? At an event like this, they'd have to break all the cameramen's cameras and the surveillance cameras too. Gary constantly leaves pieces of his skin like he's shedding, but this process doesn't happen like that at all. Shedding in adult snakes happens every 2 to 3 months, and they shed their entire skin at once, not in pieces over a week. It's also strange that this piece doesn't even follow the curve of Gary's body. It's like it's from a flat surface, not a rounded snake.
I have a trail.
There's a snake!
This moment was created only for the trailer and, alas, turned out completely illogical. Firstly, why did Gary jump down when literally 1 to 2 animals looked at where the spotlight was shining? Even Linksley didn't interrupt his speech. Secondly, what exactly was Gary and Pawbird's plan? The snake climbed onto the chandelier. Then what? Did he specifically want to jump down and scare everyone? He could have just crawled onto the stage and shown his fangs. Thirdly, why do they all react with fear to snakes? According to canon, there's severe racism towards reptiles in Zootopia, judging by the underground district for cold-blooded animals.
Maybe everyone will see we ain't that different.
But that's total crap. To maintain hereditary fear of snakes, you'd need to remind people about it for 100 years, although in the first part no one mentioned them at all. But in reality, none of the current residents have ever even seen reptiles. This whole turns out no one talked about snakes because it's taboo in Zootopia and that's why they weren't in the first part is such nonsense, just rubbish that's impossible to believe. Do they have ice floors even inside buildings? Seriously? And in a room with a huge fireplace, there's still snow in the corners?
You don't have to hurt him.
Hurt him? Snakes.
Never hurt anyone.
We aren't the bad guys.
They are.
This journal holds the secret that will prove it.
You'll be able to come home.
This is my most hated scene. You have no idea how much nonsense this is. First, just Terrible dialogues. Just the phrase,
We aren't the bad guys. We aren't the bad guys.
just get out. I understand it's for a children's audience and you can't make dialogues too complex, but here's a reference for you. The first Zootopia. Enough for kids and enough for family viewing. Perfect balance. People are unhappy that Netflix simplifies dialogues in their series, but if a cartoon makes a lot of money, that's it. The director is a genius. Second, Judy in the first part was really smart and talented, and now she literally believes the enemy of her people at their word. If Gary had said now, the fireplace smells like chocolate, jump and sniff it, Judy would definitely have jumped. Third, Gary didn't notice Nick enter the room, walk right up to him, manage to dab and press emote 6 to 7, wind up a frying pan and hit him. I wouldn't have noticed either. Fourth, Gary dreams of his family finally returning home. Oh, you poor thing. Dude, you have a whole country and climate designed for you and your family, who remember, have never even seen Zootopia. That was 100 years ago. Bro, why do you care so much about this one street district, which also has an icy climate next door? This is such a poorly written movie. I'm in shock, and this isn't even the end.
We aren't the bad guys.
Put out the fire!
Embers cannot instantly set a carpet on fire, especially since the room is very cold. There's snow here, remember?
He can be saved with anti-venom!
Gary is an Indonesian pit viper. Their venom works differently. After a bite, the victim doesn't pass out instantly, but suffers for a long time from pain, swelling at the bite site, bleeding, including internal, nausea, dizziness. Death is possible, but that's without treatment, and even then, the chance is only 10%, and the huge big guy Bogo collapsed and nearly died.
Mine.
But I'm not drunk.
This is my second most hated scene, because it's written like some 9-year-old's fan fiction. The main characters get into trouble, but suddenly their friend appears and says, "Quick, get in, I'll help you. Later in a safe hideout, I'll explain everything." And then it's just as bad. You'll see.
Nate was aided by embattled ZPD officers Nicholas Wilde.
Judy in the News was filmed again not on a camera, but through someone's eyes, because the Boers didn't have cameras and they were far away.
It's more than horseplay. But aren't there laws?
Or maybe I chose the wrong mayor.
Clear inconsistency. In the first part, there were at least two factions, the Zootopia government and Mr. Big's Mafia, which controls Tundra Town. In the second part, it suddenly turns out that the top of Zootopia is controlled not by mayors, but by some rich Lynx family from, imagine this, Tundra Town. This is doubly illogical. Tundra Town is controlled by Mr. Big. He should either be in alliance with the Lynxleys or in serious conflict with them, but not in passive coexistence. If you're still thinking, nah, you're talking nonsense, then here's a question no one's thought about. What were the Lynxleys doing during the events of the first part? They're predators. This affected their influential family, and they 100% should have done something to suppress the strikes or with a herbivore in the mayor's seat. Bellwether ran the city for a long time while Judy resigned and came back. The interlocutor's avatar in Messengers is always on top so as not to take up empty space for messages. The avatar can be next to the message only in group chats with many people, but this is clearly personal messages. Nick and Judy aren't enemies of Mr. Big, but his bears are still angry and almost strangled their comrades.
Welcome to my...
The spools change position between shots.
Anyways, you're in trouble, and we like one of you.
New clothes, new identities, truck out of town, leaving an hour.
Your best bet is talking to a reptile.
You can still find them. Just need a reptile expert, someone local.
Who knows where to go?
Lucky for you, I met someone.
Here's the continuation of the fanfiction. Okay, you need to lie low. Here are your new documents. I've already prepared everything. We'll cover for you. What the hell? You need reptiles? Of course, I have connections. Here's a business card just around the corner. Hello?
Too many pencils.
Beavers eat wood, but only soft nutritious layers or similarly soft small branches. They don't eat just dry processed wood.
reptile would know the secret of that book and why the snake wants.
Are they serious? I didn't expect this, but for Disney to mess up the visuals so badly. The animators clumsily inserted a PNG texture. There are white artifacts everywhere, like they cut out the white background using a selection tool, and I can clearly see pixelated textures in some places. And finally, tattoos are applied differently. You need careful aftercare, not going swimming in dirty water. Some sort of undersea metro isn't designed for giants like hippos, although it seems like tunnels should have been made specifically for such individuals. There's a manatee here, way bigger in size. This is just illogical, so Bobby actually communicates with reptiles and on the serious makes videos like,
maybe reptiles are among us. They were kicked out 100 years ago.
Like, why? She understands that this could, God forbid, lead to the discovery of the reptile district, since she's urging all her subscribers to look for them. The tongue is too thick to make such sounds when stretched and resonating, and shedding isn't that fast a process.
Eat first. Hey guys, they ate it!
When will animation studios understand that deliberately disgusting scenes do not equal funny?
Metal cover. Somehow vipers can see things in the metal, even under the paint.
Infrared cameras could theoretically do this too. The Linksleys didn't think of that, you might think. But alas, Pobert himself, who started these movements, knew about this and decided to summon the snake rather than use expensive technology, which he could certainly afford.
'Cause a tortoise died for it. No mammal trusted any reptile after that.
A reptile killed a reptile, so everyone stopped trusting reptiles. What the hell are you talking about? What happens if a person of one nation kills their own kind? Will their entire people be expelled? No, of course not. This is such bullshit, you understand that, right?
Those lynxes will get more land. Marsh Market will be buried in snow.
The Linksleys' motivation is still understandable, power and so on, but how do they plan to expand Tundra Town if the walls are already built and rebuilding them would require an enormous amount of resources? With that money, the already rich Linksleys could buy a separate city with no less land.
Now, we leave town. Oops.
Throughout the movie, all actions will be explained as if they're holding us for fools. Police officers point their fingers, look, this is how we found you. What for?
Bunnies! The burrowers!
The rabbit will directly remind us that she's a rabbit and can dig burrows in case the viewer forgot. The beaver will say, well, I'm a beaver, I gnaw wood. At the end of the story, they need to remind us for the 100th time that snakes get cold in the cold. In the first part, such details were told smartly. Judy overtook Nick because she can dig burrows. This was shown just in the background. Nick sees in the dark and without a flashlight thanks to night vision and so on.
You two saved the city once.
Basilisks can run on water, but only when they're small, not 1.5 meters tall and weighing 50 kilograms. And this raises the question, why did some species become gigantic? According to canon, all animals, though anthropomorphic, correspond to their real sizes. But Jesus, being a green-plumed basilisk, is larger than a fox, although in nature they fit in the palm of your hand. This applies to many reptiles. They're all here roughly 1.5 meters, although half of them should also fit in a human hand.
I'm really sorry, but this is my family's only...
Throughout the movie, Gary's length will decrease and increase. Now he's standard length, but in previous scenes he could wrap around a whole lynx and still have plenty of length left. The heroes flew out of a pipe. The ground is all wet. About 30 seconds later, all the ground is already dry. Mountains change position between shots.
Box of old matches.
This is the place
Where this tube goes?
Oh, Koppenhofen. Yes, Koppenhofen.
Where did you find these flowers?
The tippity top of the mountain.
Hideout for snakes.
How do you reach it?
Tourist takes the tram from Koppenhofen.
But the rope is faster.
There's a word called contrivance. When events and actions come together too conveniently and implausibly, the main characters flew out of a pipe in a random place, but lo and behold, they ended up right in front of a lift cable leading straight to the secret reptile lair where Gary and Paulbert work. All this was told by random kind passers-by. Wow, what a coincidence. You can knock someone out instantly if you administer a drug intravenously, but not like this. Judy sees empty dunes to the horizon, although we know that Sahara City isn't that big a district, and there are almost no empty dunes, it's all built up.
When I found out the journal was going to be on display at the gala, I sent his family an anonymous letter asking to see it.
Are you out of your mind? In the letter, you indicated that you want to touch a very important book, and you also indicated that you're a snake. He sent this to Zootopia, where reptiles aren't liked, to a family that framed the snakes. And he says the letter is anonymous, but what is this? Snakes produce banana pockets with zippers for themselves, designed for fingers. Even though they don't have fingers, they have to open them with their tail tips, instead of just making an opener more convenient for snakes.
Zootopia wasn't created by a mammal, by a snake.
He wanted to make the city a place where all animals felt welcome.
Small inconsistency with the canon short films Zootopia Plus, where Mr. Big highlighted this same issue about 50 years ago. There was no district for polar bears, and he started to find a way out. Basically, Mr. Big's whole story was that Zootopia wasn't created for everyone back then, and now, it turns out, 100 years ago a snake had already designed the city for all climates. Then why do we see the same polar bears? Did Bear Kozlov and Mr. Big live over 100 years? Are you kidding?
He invented her weather walls to help and because she was a snake, no reptiles were welcome. My great-grandfather in snow.
I've already talked about the absurdity of this backstory, but plus a cherry on top, it's the crooked border between Tundra Town and the Reptile District, and also the straight line between the reptiles and Sahara City. Logically, a straight wall should be on the border of Tundra Town and the reptiles, because they need warmth too. But alas, according to canon, straight walls are already here. Nothing can be done. So Grandma Snake decided to make crooked walls on the border with the icy district, and how were those air conditioners supposed to look? I can also add strawberries to the cake, I don't mind. The reptile district should be somewhere between the temperate and tropical districts, warm enough and moderately humid, but the writers inserted them here just for the connection with the evil winter cats.
Nicholas Wild! Good to see you at the lunch table.
This hamster is sitting in a cell, although he could fit between the bars.
Let's get out of here. Food is on point. The lock. Yeah, that's Beeve 101.
Without a reference, there's just no way to make the right key. There's no open all cells button in prisons. This is as much a plot myth as the blow up the villain's entire base, preferably with a timer button. Windows go down quickly in basically any car except manuals, but if the owner is slow themselves, then the windows follow suit.
Take the shot!
Did I understand correctly? Hogbottom is aiming with his blind eye? Officially, that eye is indicated as blind.
It's turning on! It's turning on!
Deadly dangerous walls that would even kill Sahara residents aren't fenced off by any barrier or at least a tape.
I know.
Sorry, partner.
If you try to compete with a snake in terms of muscle strength, then Lord, have mercy. A snake is pure muscle. This snake could jack off Porbert like Porbert jacks off his own snake. Yes, grabbing a snake by the head will keep you safe from a bite, but just a reminder of what a large snake can do even in the Zootopia universe. Gary can incapacitate an adult lynx in a second, but here he can't.
I know.
Please don't be mad at me. We've always been on the same page.
Me and you! Underdogs! I burned the original patent to finally be something in my family.
The villain is uninteresting. I'll compare with the first part again, but even without this comparison, the villain is boring. A teenager with a grudge who was bullied and is now ready to kill for it. Wow. The foundation of the Zootopia world is harmony between all animals, even predators and prey. But inequality existed, and Miss Bellwether precisely embodied that inequality. The herbivores' hatred for creatures stronger than them. This is literally embedded in the foundations of nature itself, in us, the viewers. Her motives came from the key idea of the universe and of Judy and Nick themselves. And now we have a resentful teenager. Great.
He's gonna eat that rabbit! No, wait, I'm saving her!
Logically, if there are distant countries with completely different species, then their language should be completely different too. Gary might have learned the language of mammals, but speaking without an accent is unrealistic. Nick is not lying on the edge of the cliff, but he still sees Gary and Judy. Judy managed to run to Nick. Okay, that's a plot device. But why are there no tracks of Judy and Gary in the snow?
I should have said it, but I didn't. I am an emotionally insecure source of your discomfort.
Who's not good at expressing his feelings.
I do try too hard because deep down,
I'm afraid that I am what everyone thinks I am, and I suppress my discomfort because I'm worried it makes me look weak and I want to be strong, and I think I'm failing all the time, and I only take what you say personally because you're the only one in my life who ever believed in me, even when I don't even believe in myself. And I should have told you that.
I have unresolved childhood trauma that I refuse.
Make dangerous choices because I have an unhealthy bunny hero.
I didn't join the ZPD because I...
Now that is what we call...
The climax of the conflicts between Judy and Nick is filmed very cringely. I'll explain now. These dialogues were clearly written without any love or professionalism, and you know why? Nobody talks like that. No one rattles off psychological terms describing their emotional state, not in movies, not in real life, not in books or comics, but you know where they do write like that? People on social media. If Judy and Nick had written all this in messages, I wouldn't have questions, but the writers, not realizing that shitty tweets and movies are different things, decided to scribble this terrible dialogue. Okay, how should it be done? How to conclude the emotions of two characters with strained relations? Like this.
Remember me.
The plot leads to the performance of a song, where everything falls into place, where everything becomes clear. Imagine if Miguel started rattling off, oh, you have hereditary trauma, and according to Sigmund Freud's methods, you've developed triggers related to music, causing the trauma to be passed on to me and... Or like this.
See that look on his face?
Come on, Mark!
Go!
You, Dad. I still have you.
A flashback in Omni-Man's mind where he completely changes his worldview and position. No need to say these are different things. Techniques can be applied in any genre. Even the finale of Some Elio, where literally without words, they revealed the climax of the relationship between Elio and his aunt, they just turned on the light and everything became clear. What am I dissatisfied with? The fact that this is degradation? Disney can do much better. This is an invisible time bomb. Sooner or later people will notice it. And the dumbest and simply disgusting phenomenon is total unawareness. When I watched Zootopia 2 at a preview before the premiere, I immediately spoke negatively about the movie. That is, even before the reviews, critic ratings and other bloggers, because I'm free, I don't care what others say. But when the movie came out, people spammed saying the movie was great. I said, the plot is crap, the humor is dumber, they lost the old spirit of Zootopia. What did you like about it? Maybe I missed something. And damn it, everyone only answered one thing.
It made a lot of money.
Just fired. This is the dumbest trend of the last 5 years, thinking that box office revenue is a significant parameter. This phenomenon started after COVID, when studios complained about low revenues, and this directly affects the future of cinema and studios. Then the media and bloggers started mentioning revenues at every opportunity, but understand, this shouldn't affect your opinion and impression of the film itself at all. It's only important for the studios themselves and the possible release of a sequel. My favorite but unpleasant example is the movie Onward. It was remembered as a box office failure, and to this day people consider it a crappy picture. But it failed simply because of the start of the pandemic, and the movie itself is just excellent. Zootopia 2 is normal, not outright bad, but people only loved it because of familiar characters and brainwashing from good reviews and box office revenue. The snowplow was right next to Paubert, but at high speed it just can't catch him. A 100 years have passed, and the wiring after many snowstorms is still working fine. It's like those guys who open a 100-year-old can of cola. And how can I even believe that for some reason they decided to create a neat ice dome, sealing off the entire district, leaving everything untouched inside? It's all standing on thick ice.
How is that even possible?
Gary takes off his scarf, supposedly from the candles. It's instantly warm here. Even the inside is all preserved as if they left last Tuesday, not 100 years ago.
The now disgraced Linksley family were revealed to have stolen the original plans and covered it up for decades.
No, they need to be arrested for illegal assumption of power, abuse of authority, and attempts on others' lives. And the patent was acquired by the deceased great-grandfather. These four weren't even born at the time of the crime.
There's a lot of different animals out there.
By revealing the true inventor of the city's weather walls was a snake.
A century-old built racism and fear in hereditary memory disappeared in one day just because the news said, well, I guess reptiles are okay.
Actually, my name is Gene.
My name also Gene.
It's physically impossible that they didn't know each other's names. In the reports they constantly fill out, in documents and so on, Zebrotva definitely states their names regularly. Children are dragging a huge piece of ice. I'd like to see them even carry a bucket of ice, let alone a whole block.
Because when you broke out of jail, you also released 200 highly dangerous prisoners.
They released the criminals, but when the Linksleys were imprisoned, the criminals were back in their cells. I saved this detail as a blueberry on the cake.
Those are blueberries. From my family's farm.
Neither in the first part nor in the second were there any birds. Okay, but the problem is there are insects, and birds play a very important role in the ecosystem and food chain. There's an excellent episode in The Wild Thornberrys where a few birds disrupted the food chain of an entire island. So, at least small birds should be in Zootopia for the balance of nature to exist, but they weren't there in either part.
We aren't the bad guys.